In this movie, I'll show you how to target and format an entire group of objects. And our purpose here is going to be to take each one of these groups of letters and stroke them en masse, as we're seeing right here. And so I'll start by showing you what a standard stroke looks like. I'll go ahead and zoom in on the text in the upper left corner of the document, and I'll click on any one of the letters with the black arrow tool. And because they're all grouped together, that selects every single one of these two rows of letters. Now I'm going to press Control-H or Command-H on a Mac to hide the anchor points so we can better see what we're doing. And I'm going to change the line weight up here in the control panel to 2.5 points. And as you can see, the stroke is black by default, which works out well. So now I'll click on a word stroke. I want to get rid of those sharp miter joins right there. And so I'll change the corner to a round join. And I also want to move the strokes outward. So I'll go ahead and select a line stroke to outside. And while that looks pretty darn good, notice these strange interactions that we have between letters. And that's because we're working with compound paths that are being stroked independently, which is not what we want. Instead, what we want to do is stroke the entire group at once. And here's what that looks like. I'll go ahead and press Control-Z or Command-Z on the Mac as many times as it takes to get rid of those strokes. And I'll zoom out just a little bit so that we can see all the letters. And what we want to make sure is happening is that the group is targeted. So notice that we have a double circle here where this meatball is concerned on the right side of the screen. And that tells us that the group and not the path outlines themselves is going to be the target of our formatting. So notice if I twirl open the group, these two meatballs do not have extra circles around them. So in other words, they are not directly targeted. That is to say, they're not targeted if we work from the Appearance panel. So what you need to do is go up to the Window menu and choose Appearance to bring up the Appearance panel. Now, the Appearance panel is a huge topic, which is why I'm devoting the very next chapter to it. So you can consider this as a kind of preview of coming attractions. But what we need to do is make sure we're seeing the word group at the top of the panel, and then drop all the way down to this lower right icon, which says Add New Stroke, and click on it. And that will add a stroke to the group as opposed to the letters themselves. Now I'm going to take that value up to twice 2.5, which would be, of course, 5 points, in order to make quite the mess of the letters. I will also click on a word stroke and change the corner to a round join. I will not, however, change the alignment of the stroke because I can't. Instead, what I'm going to do is grab this stroke right there, and I'm going to drag it not below fill, but all the way below contents, which are the contents of the group. So in other words, we're going to stroke the group behind the letters in order to produce this effect right here, which, not surprisingly, is exactly what we want. All right, now let's go ahead and do the same thing to these guys. So I'll go ahead and click on any one of the letters to select all of them. And just to make sure everything is selected properly, I'll press Control-H or Command-H on the Mac to bring back the anchor points. Sure enough, everything's there. So I'll press Control-H or Command-H again to hide the anchor points. And then, since we're already inside the Appearance panel, all you need to do is drop down to the Add New Stroke icon and click on it way down there in the bottom left corner of the panel. And this time, we're going to change the line weight to 3 points and change the color of the stroke from this dreadful black. I'm going to have to check if that's a mistake on the other one too. But I'll change it to white, like so. And then I'll click on the word stroke and switch the corner to a round join. And then finally, I'll grab the stroke and drag it and drop it to below the contents in order to produce this awesome effect here, in which not a single layer is interrupted by the stroke, and none of the strokes overlap each other. All right, let's check on the color of that stroke, however. Notice, if you will, you have to look pretty closely here, that this is what's known as a weak black, which can sometimes, even though we're working in RGB, be a carryover of having worked inside of a CMYK document. And so I'm just going to go ahead and click on these letters. I know that they're selected properly. And I'm going to go over to the stroke item, and I'm going to shift-click on this color swatch in order to bring up the RGB values. And notice they are not 0. Every one of them should be 0, but they're not. We've got 39 for red and 37 for the other two. You can go ahead and dial them in manually if you want to, or you can click on this little black swatch here, and that's going to zero out all the values and give us a so-called rich black, which, of course, is exactly what we want. All right, now I'll press Control-H or Command-H on the Mac to bring back the anchor points, because otherwise that's a state that's saved along with the document. And then I'll press Control-0 or Command-0 on the Mac to zoom out, and I'll press Control-Shift-A or Command-Shift-A on the Mac to deselect my artwork. And that's how you target and format an entire group of objects. specifically by adding a stroke here inside the Appearance panel and moving the stroke below the contents here inside Illustrator.